Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk The Walking Dead Q&A number 101. Holy crap. Alright, listen guys, I am nothing. If you're new here, you can follow the rules to participate down in that video description. These questions are pulled from Q&A number 98. So, if you left them on 99, I didn't even pull off of that video yet. So relax. Chillax, home slice. This is my design. Looks like the original showrunner Frank Darabont is suing AMC for $280 million. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think it could hurt the show? That is a give or take. I mean, I think they said in that article they can't even hear the case until 2018. So they're not even hearing the case for, 2 more years yet. Well, 2016 is almost over, but you get what I'm saying. If they decide to go with Darabont on this, obviously it will affect The Walking Dead in some way, shape, or form. Luckily, though, The Walking Dead is AMC's moneymaker, so they're not going to be like, oh, well, that sucks, we're just going to cancel The Walking Dead. If they did, they would need a very good reason because it's their moneymaker, So I think if he won, yeah, it would hurt them, but since it's their biggest project, I think that keeps it safe no matter what, You also asked, do you think Negan has more than one Lucille or a backup? No, absolutely not. Josh Wilbanks. Ronnie, if you were Negan's character, how would you personally handle Rick's group? This is a trick question. If I was Negan, how would I handle Rick's group? I would handle it like Negan because I was Negan. And if you said, okay, well, if you were in Negan's shoes, how would you handle it? Well, I would never be in Negan's shoes because I wouldn't run an operation like that. I would run one more like Rick does. So, I believe in loyalty and not fear, so I'd never end up in his shoes. See how impossible that is to answer? Die Hard Pizza Man. Ronnie, what do you think should be in the opening credits scene, assuming we're getting a new one? If they keep the old one, fine. If they make a new one, awesome. Just one thing. Include Lucille in the new one. It's a must. With that said, I think they will have a new one, because now that I'm thinking about it, an intro scene without Lucille? Oh, you lost your damn mind. Mark Scott, The Walking Dead. How do you feel about the theory that children... Okay, we're skipping this bullshit. Listen, Mark, love you, baby. Actually, I don't even know who the fuck you are. But, I don't mean to be a dick. I'm just goofing around. Here's the thing. I am against immunities. I'm against anyone being immune to the virus. Holy shit, I'm stroking out, guys. Hold on. What you're talking about basically is that Judith, who's born after this, little Herschel, stuff like that, they're immune to the virus, and when they die, they won't turn. I'm just against it. If you guys want it to be a thing, okay, fine, that's cool. But me, I'm against it no matter what. I don't ever want a cure, but if there was, I'd have to accept it, Nathan Skits. Ronnie, everyone is worried about who died, but my question is, what was wrong with Maggie? I tried to look it up and I was going to answer that in a video, but to be honest, you could pick a number of different things. So just say it's like a lack of nutrients caused something to, back up and an infection, internal, whatever. I mean, pick a number of different things. I don't think it's going to be anything that is, I think it's going to be serious for the moment, but it's going to be something that she'll heal. Matt Dederick. Ronnie, do you think we will get any kind of Megan or Dwight flashback? Wow, you butchered their names. No, I don't think we will. I don't think we need them. Not yet, anyway. Oscar Zimmerman. Ronnie, just wanted to say I love your videos. My question is, do you think they will ever kill Morgan off since he didn't get his death in No Way Out? And if so, when? I'm still sticking with all out war for Morgan, but I don't think they'll just kill him off because he's outliving his comic, counterpart. Look at Carol. She doesn't look like she's dying anytime soon, and she outlived her comic counterpart. Saeed and Dolph. Wow, I butchered that. Ronnie, do you think Enid might take Lydia's role? Okay, I had to put this in here. I'm seeing this more and more. Everyone who's out there asking and talking about Enid taking over Lydia's role in the comics, why? Enid is so detached from anything that could even be closely remixed with Lydia's story that it wouldn't make sense. That would be like, hey, Ronnie, is Rick gonna take over some of Negan's storyline? Maybe he can develop multiple personality syndrome. And when we find out, when season 7 returns in episode 1, fucking mind blown, Rick is Negan. Imagine, and I'm not poking fun, I'm breaking balls, because listen, when I say something stupid, I got 1,000 people telling me I said something stupid, so I'm breaking balls. But seriously, everyone who wants Enid to be Lydia, no, it wouldn't work in any way, shape, or form. If you could convince me that Rick is Negan, just with a multiple personality, then I will seriously consider Enid being Lydia. Okay? Jeff Atwood, how long would you have Merle lived? You mentioned in one of your videos he died too soon. Yeah, you know what? I would have had him live in season 4, and off top of my head, I would have looked into having him die when the governor came back for a second attack. Do something where Merle was finally fitting in somehow. He was still rough around the edges, but he was finally fitting in. Maybe he built his own little tent or his own little section away from the group. That's how we open up in season 4. And he's talking to his brother. He goes out on the run with Daryl. He helps save some people. Do something like that where the guy who comes up to shake Daryl's hand, like, how Daryl was the outsider, let Merle share some of that, and he comes to thank the brothers, and he thanks those two, and then at the end of that episode, or one of the episodes, instead of him being out there, maybe a person in the group has brought Merle's, camp area or whatever closer to everyone else's. Just off the top of my head, an idea like that. Bring him together, and then have him die during the prison attack. Now, that's just off the top of my head. I could think of something else. He could have been saved, sadly enough, for one of the victims in the trough. I think having one of her own die at that point in time would have been horrific. And to have Merle go out like that, I think that could have been one of the most heartbreaking and iconic, deaths in The Walking Dead. Imagine Daryl sitting there. It's Daryl, Glenn, Merle, and Merle gets cracked over the head, throat slit, and the whole time they're having a nonchalant conversation about bullets, and Daryl is crushed, squirming and whatever, and looking over at his brother bleeding out. Some shit like that would have been traumatizing as fuck. I would have argued to keep him on for that terminus death probably. Anyway, if they let him live past a prison assault. Anyway, Nicholas Castile, Ronnie, once Negan is no longer a present threat and all-out war is over, if we had to see our group endure a natural disaster, which do you prefer? Tornado, earthquake, flood, etc. Whatever's most realistic to that area, If they don't ever get tornadoes, they don't ever get earthquakes, I'm forced to take a flood. But whatever's most realistic, Abel Scott, Ronnie, I know Negan won't be swearing on TV, but do you think they'll still have Negan's crude humor, like the famous line, "My dick and balls hunger for war"? Yeah, they'll definitely keep crude stuff in there, as much as they can do in their, within the restrictions of TV. Yuri Kennedy, how did Dwight and Sherry end up back with the Saviors? I'm hoping they I'm hoping they tell us. I don't want to see it. I don't think we need to see it. But I'm hoping they do tell us. Maybe she talked Dwight into going back. Maybe, and I would probably prefer if they simply got caught on the road. Let's say Wade and them decided we're going back, and when they went back, they seen something that caught their eye. They went to scope it out. Their dumb luck, they're gathering some supplies. Here comes a loud motorcycle rolling through. They look over and they're like, all right, guys, there they are. Let's go get them. I'm hoping it's something similar to that. I don't want them to just turn around and go back in there. I think, oh, man, that's so dumb. Dalton Shady. When they go through that time skip after All Out War, do you think they'll change the actor who plays Carl to someone more badass? No. I don't care how much you don't like the actor. Never change actors. That's one thing I could never take serious with Game of Thrones. They changed the actor multiple times with certain things. And for me, I thought it was so utterly distracting because the one they changed that was the most important, I thought, or the most distracting, was not only was it one of the kings, one person who became king, but it was also the right-hand man to the Mother of Dragons, the boyfriend to him or whatever. Now, the person they replaced him with, I ended up liking him fuck ton better than the original guy. The original guy, his charisma was just way off. It was not right for the role. Whoever casted that made a clear mistake. But that's besides the point. You never, ever recast unless it's a last resort, you know? Louis Topper. I am not sure if you will read this, and I will keep it short, but how do you think they will get the characters Daryl and Dwight to join forces logically without breaking character or making obvious story amateur hour moments for either one of them? This is very easy. In my opinion, I think it's very easy. I don't want to sound cocky or whatever, but I think it is, because look, you have Daryl fucking hates Dwight. He wants to choke him out in his sleep. You highlight that rage, that anger, maybe even show Daryl plotting to kill Dwight. You know, have him at the sanctuary and he's sharpening a shiv, something, and then maybe Daryl sees the moment and he's like, fuck it, it'll be so worth it. I might even die from this, but I'm going to take this and jab it right in his throat. And then Daryl comes around the corner, he's close to it, and then he sees Dwight. Something catches his eye, and it's interesting, and he's talking to a Sherry girl. He can even see him crying. It could be an emotional conversation. Daryl kind of ducks around the corner, hides in the dark, the silhouette. Overhears something that's somewhat heartbreaking, the conversation between Dwight and Sherry. And then a little bit after that, introduce him to something else, catches his eye. So now he's starting to, you know, waver a little bit, but just because he's curious, not because he's feeling sorry for him, but just because he's curious. He hears something that he wants to know more, and that's when the big moment comes where he witnesses another guy get taken and burned with the iron, and he looks over at Dwight, and it now makes sense. He sees Dwight standing there with the burned face. He sees this guy. He knows why he got burnt now, because his wife chose to go with Negan instead of surviving on her own. And then Daryl can put two and two together and think, here's a guy who's madly in love with this woman. Whatever their situation is, she had to choose to become Negan's wife, and then, you know, he paid the horrible price for it by getting his face burnt, and he was forced to go out and rob and kill and steal. I mean, a part of the conversation that Daryl could overhear would or could be Dwight bawling his eyes out, being like, I put on this front or whatever, but it's eating me up inside, the woman I shot on the train tracks, yada yada. You could pretty much add anything. You can add something it's real to the first look we got of Dwight in the beginning, where he's like, there's no coming back from that. But you can have this man who's saying, no, you chose this, you picked Negan, and he sent me out there and had me kill. If he didn't kill, you would have got hurt, I would have got hurt, we don't know what would have happened, yada yada yada. I mean, man, there's so much. It's like a big mountain of clay, and you could just mold and tweak, and I think the stuff they could do, the potential there for Daryl and Dwight, it's so fucking amazing. I'd give my pinky to be able to help write part of that story, because it's when I dig writing. When you're into writing, there's some stuff that just gives you a hard on, you know? You're just like, I would love to get my hands on that, you know what I mean? Anyway, put your thoughts and opinions in the comment box. If you didn't like any of these responses I gave, try giving your own down there. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.